So this is a true story. All my stories are true. And I learned from all these things that happened to me. I was at a wedding, and at the wedding was a kid, a brother of the Kala that was not from, and that was doing drugs, and that was drinking, and that was making a scene and very capable of destroying a wedding. So the parents were very good. They were not under my care, as you will see. And but they were very good, and they did everything they can. And he kept on drinking throughout the wedding, and he got more and more drunk. But he lasted through the wedding without making too much of a problem. Now, the parents had two of their friends keep an eye on him and take him outside every once in a while and just be there. It came to the mitzvah tanz. You know what a mitzvah tanz is? That's where they have the guy with the grammar, he tells the jokes and he says the stuff, and they have a gartel, those who don't know, and they dance with the kala. It's a pretty serious time. There's jokes, but they're serious. And the guy starts telling jokes, and it's just family there. And this kid finds the booze, and he is drinking much more. He's already drunk. And he starts laughing at the stupid jokes. Everybody chuckles, you know, and he starts going, laughing, making a scene. Everybody's looking. The father goes ahead and looks at his friends, and they go over, and they start pulling the bottle away. And they start, you know, taking the box away, and they start getting to a little scuffle, and he's getting louder, and he's disrupting more, and he's laughing more, and he's pushing them away. Don't touch me! And they're trying to have a mitzvah dance, and he's louder than the guy with the mic. Get away from me, don't touch me. And he makes a whole scene. And it wasn't so pretty. And they finally, they like muscled him out, kind of convincing him, pushing him. They got him outside. Wasn't nice. After the mitzvah dance was over, I was outside, and he asked me for a cigarette, and he knew me peripherally, not close, but he knew me, he knew I'm chilled. And I sat outside with him, and we both had a cigarette, and I said, so how was the wedding? So he tells me, you know, everything was really going fine until the whole place went nuts on me at about 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, in his perspective, this happened to him. He didn't realize that he was the one getting drunk. He was the one making a scene. He was the one. This was like, it happened to him. It's like such an odd thing. So I went into his brain and I said, wow, that must have been really difficult for you. You mean like at 1 o'clock, everybody there turned on you and got upset at you for no reason? Wow, that's really tough. And he was like, yeah, that was really tough. Thanks for understanding. In his mind, he thought, I mean, can you imagine if it happened to you? Can you imagine if you went someplace and everybody's nice to you, and then all of a sudden, boom, everybody starts being mean to you. Get out of here. What are you doing here? Move out, move out. What did I do? What did I do? That was his perception of the night. Why am I telling you this? When our kips do things wrong, they make a scene, they make noise, they're wrong. Now, how we deal with it, we have to be trained. Hatzalah, let's say, has special trainings for dealing with an EDP, people who are emotionally hurt, because if you don't know how to deal with it, you make the situation worse. Nurses know how to deal with people who are in trauma, in physical trauma. Otherwise, in the ER, they make the person worse. We all have to understand that when someone is behaving in a way that's not okay, we all need to be trained on how to make the situation better and not worse. And that's the example I gave before. I'll say it again. If you're walking in the middle of the night and you're in a dark alley and you see a loose dog, if you start saying, what are you doing? You're crazy. Get out of here. The dog's going to get nervous. The dog's going to attack you and bite you. Survival mode. If you know how to deal with a dog, even though the dog is scary, but you get down on your hands and knees, you show the dog, I'm not here to hurt you. I understand you. And you show that I'm not a threat. And then you find some food or something to give the dog. Then they start to purr, and they put their kepi, they put their head on your lap eventually, and they'll show you where the boo-boo is. And you go outside and you see kids making a lot of noise. You give them a cigarette or you give them a hug, and they see you're not here to hurt me. You don't judge me. They're the nicest kids. But if you look at them, or look away from them, you tell your kids or your spouse, look away, don't look, it's bums, they're going to bite your head off. They're craving attention, but they're craving that somebody should like me. And it's up to us to understand that. And we have hadrach. That's what hurts me. It's like, oh, this is so new. No, it's not new. It's the way every gadol said to work with people who are angry, people who are disconnected from Yiddishkeit, people who are disconnected from Menschlichkeit. This is the Hira and the guidance of all the Gedolim. That's why I made a book, Raising Royalty, and working in Mitzvah Hashem on future volumes, so people could see, wow, let's look how the Chazon Ish dealt with this. Let's look at what happened when Rabbi Ari Levine was the tzaddik of Yerushalayim Zatzal, the father-in-law of Rabbi Elyashiv Zatzal. And what did he do when he found somebody smoking on Shabbos? Did he scream and yell at him? What did he do? What did the Vizhnitzer Rebbe do there, Mechaim, when somebody was on a motorcycle on Shabbos? What did Chacham Ovadia Yosef do when a taxi driver pulled up on Shabbat and rolled down his window? In the old days, they had to never do this and ask directions. Was he happy when his son said that you're gonna this is what you're doing is wrong? We have Hira. We're not born today. What did the Satmar Rebbe do? What did what did Rav Steinman do? What did Rav Shach do? We have all of these stories, and it's always kindness. And the more that we are tough, the angrier they get, the more averis they do, the more dangerous they become to themselves and to others. And we have, from over 200 years ago, learned what I send out from the Pele Yoyetz that says that someone who treats somebody like that and goes with kashas, with difficult strength, small doicha, someone who does that, any aver that the person does because of that, you, the tzaddik who is so upset about the bad kid, right? You're so good. It hurts you so much how bad the kid is. You are over lifnei iver le'sitein michshol. You're over a lav. And he says that haroitzel yasher sa'am, someone who wants to make the nation people better, he tells you how to do it. And he says, only with going like Aaron HaKohen, Oyev Sebriyos, only with Ahava, not to say you're a chutzpahnak, not to say, well, how come you're doing that? There are ways of treating people who are hurt, who are upset, and who are offensive. People who don't know how to treat people who are sick or offensive or hurt. You know the story in Borough Park, there was a guy who was not, he wasn't all there, and he was holding a hammer, and the cops shot him. And they were right, because they felt threatened. He could have thrown it. But if it would have been a different training, a different team would have been there, they would have understood how to get him to not do that. So when people feel attacked, even us, we don't respond with, oh, I'm so sorry. No, people don't like to feel attacked. And our kids in pain, that's why I call them kips, and really it's everybody, is very sensitive. And if they feel attacked, they're going to bite. So you have to realize that they know whether you're for them or against them before you even open your mouth. You have to purge yourself from judgment. Al tadin es chavercha ad shetagia limkaimai. Have done es kol ha'adam lekaf schus. And all the DIVREI that we have to live it. Otherwise, it's not just for somebody else. We end up causing them pain. We end up being over v'ahavta l'reacha kamaycha. We end up being over lifnei iver le'sitei mechshol. This story that is not on camera, but that you told me, of a boy that for a year and a half had no violence since you're here. And then after being in a situation, an altercation with family, ended up becoming so violent and threatening. It's their fault. Because if the people that he was around, even if he was wrong in the beginning, would have been trained, it never would have ended like that. But they say, no, I got to teach him a lesson. No, I got to respond. They don't realize, because they're not trained on how to deal with someone in pain, how to deal with someone who went through a lot of difficulty, and how to deal with someone even without that. Someone angry. No, you don't go head to head. That's not the way. People say you have to fight fire with fire. I say, doesn't that just give you more fire? You have to treat fire with water. Didn't you ever see a fireman? Tzaddikim never fought fire with fire. The Hasidim and small people and small-minded people fight fire with fire. We're not going to let this, throw them out of here. None of that comes from GEDOLIM. None of that is Das Torah. We go with Yugum and we do Sarachamim. We learn Taimah Devara every day. Mahu Rachum Afata Habe Rachum. Somebody smart and intelligent with chachma and bina, would have looked at that situation and see how it's escalating and escalating, and would have known how to easily de-escalate the situation and not create this boy to become again violent and a monster. That's not who his essence is. And we've proven that because we treated him nicely. And I feel bad for him that he had to go back into that mentality, that he was pushed back into that survival mentality. And it's up to those people to apologize. I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you feel bad. And they're going to say, but it's his fault. Doesn't matter whose fault it is. We have to heal him. When we treat him nicely, he will get better. And it takes a great man to apologize, especially if you're not wrong. But the bottom line is when you hurt someone, you have to apologize. Even if you hurt him because you thought that he thought that, doesn't matter. You have to be matthias him. You have to make him feel better. You text him back. I so regret what happened between us. I'm so sorry. I wanted to have such a good time with you, and I'm really sorry about what I said and what I did. I want to make it up to you. And our kips, by the way, sometimes they don't accept the apology right away, but they are I find they're much more forgiving than regular people because they're dying for love and acceptance. And with the right words and the right sentiment and the kamayim apanim lepanim, they will forgive faster than most of us will forgive. Klal Yisrael needs to learn how to deal because it's everywhere. These people are everywhere. And it's our tafkid. The strong have to care for the weak. It's our job. It's our duty in this star to be makar every single neshama, ba'avoisai sahava, whether at this point they deserve it or not. That's the Kiddush Hashem. And that's the Derech HaTorah. That's the Derech Hashem. It's the Derech of all the tzaddikim. It was just a story that just came to me. And it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's printed and it's brought down that there was a boy who was off the derech and very rebellious. And he went into the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And when he came in, the Lubavitcher Rebbe always told people, sit down. And all Hasidim know you don't sit. Everybody knows you don't sit. And this kid grew up Chabad. So until 2 years ago, he knew, right? The Rebbe offered him a seat right away, takes out a seat just to show, I'm not your chassid, I don't have respect for you, I'll sit. And then, on top of that, in the Yechidus room, in the small room where the Rebbe's with him, takes out a pack of cigarettes, he takes out a cigarette, nobody would do that. It's so disrespectful. Who was right and who was wrong? The boy was wrong. He was wrong. And if the Rebbe would have said, chutzpah, get out of here, call the shamus, get out, come back when you could behave, the boy was wrong. The boy took out, he tried to light, and for some reason, the flick, whatever it's called, it didn't go. And after a couple of seconds, he realizes, he feels that there's someone next to him. He looks up, and the Rebbe's handing him a match. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was big enough not to go down to somebody's level and to show him, you could do whatever you want. I'm here to help you. We all need to learn from that. And the same thing from all tzaddikim. To be humble, not to look to be right, to be goal-oriented, and to make everybody in our lives and in our reach feel comfortable around us. Even feel comfortable to be dysfunctional. I had boys in my house, they cursed. I never told them don't curse. Be you. Be comfortable. I like the you that you are. And they get better and they feel calmer and they feel healthier. And then they want to be functional and they want to fight their battles. And they have a lot of battles. Hashem should help them. They should be able to overcome a lot of battles. But we're helping them, not by calling them out when they make a mistake, but by saying, it's okay. It's okay. You didn't lose me. I'm still here for you. That's being Omed ben Nisayim, standing up to the challenge and walking in Hashem's ways.